And we just saw the Codrington Pan family in a tribute to Asami Nagakia. Now, Lawrence Waldron and Rion Smith, they did the shooting, video shooting rather. Editing was by Mackenzie Joseph and Lawrence Waldron as well. We are on day number 14 of the 16 days of activism, and sadly, the reason and the need for such activism is all too clear to us in Trinidad and Tobago and the rest of the wider Caribbean and world. We have two activists with us, Elysse Marcelin and Terry-Ann Roy, speaking about one event in particular. Good morning, ladies. Thank you so much for being here. Elysse, it seems as though you're starting to become a consistent member of the show.
Yeah, just now I have to give my autograph. So,
what is happening on Saturday?
On Saturday, we are hosting a discussion on the LifeinLeggings movement and sort of the factors, the cultural factors that have created the need for this movement. And what we're hoping to get out of that discussion is an audience participation, and we can move forward with, sort of concrete ideas about how we can all participate to change this cultural narrative of LifeinLeggings to something other than she looked for that, but about responsibility and how we can see this situation change for the better.
LifeinLeggings is a hashtag, Terry-Ann. What's the significance of actually moving it from the digital space to one where people can physically reach out, interact, and have that social networking on a tangible basis?
Well, initially when the hashtag started, it was to raise awareness, and I feel as if we've done that. We've been seen internationally. BBC picked us up when they had their street harassment edition last week, and I think now the focus is to bring everyone together. So we have our awareness, and now it's important to bring everybody together and to share our stories physically in solidarity with each other, and then while we're together physically we can share our ideas and what's the next step. So we don't want it to just stay digitally, and we want to share ideas of how we could change legislation, how we could form support groups for women, girls, children, everyone affected by violence.
No, I'm wearing orange, burnt orange, but orange nonetheless, and looking at the symbol as the site of the struggle. How is it that you say, okay, well, how do fellas, gentlemen, boys, youths involve themselves in this conversation?
Well, I think that's what makes the event on Saturday perfect. It's that it's given everybody the opportunity to join into the conversation with the hopes of it being done in a safe space where people can voice their opinions without, having to worry about judgment and these kinds of things. But also the hope is that men and young men and boys can figure out ways that they choose to be involved themselves, so that there isn't a matter of us dictating how men need to be involved, but rather a sort of collective and collaborative effort to figure out how we can involve everyone, whether that is through just calling out your own friends, or whether that's through activism, or whatever the case might be. However we choose to all engage, we need to come up with that as a group, how we can each participate to change this situation for the better.
No, she looked for that as a very provocative title, and I'm sure more than one person has said it overtly or thought it in the mind. But do just fellas, do just men say that?
No, and that is the sad part. Like, it's been ingrained in our society that she look for that. So we have women saying it as well. We have women saying it since the hashtag came up. Women have been commenting on our status. Women have been sharing things and saying, well, she should have dressed differently. It's the way she acts. She loose. And I think we're trying to raise awareness, not just for men and women, not just for men, but also for women, so for them to understand that this is what society has taught us, and that we have to sit and think about it and change how we think. We have to look at it from an outside view and realize that this is how we were brought up, and this is not how it is.
How easy is that?
It's not easy at all, but we have to put in the work and we have to do it.
When does this happen, in terms of what time, what location?
It's at the Big Black Box, number 33 Murray Street, and it's from 4 to 6 this Saturday.
Coming out of it saying, if this happens, the conversation would have been successful. What is that this?
I think one of the biggest thises would be if people can start to feel personally accountable. So what I mean by that is, I think everybody needs to, at the end of a conversation like this, feel as though they actually do have a responsibility to make a difference, and that they are actually powerful enough to do so. That it's not about, just government, policies or, university research or any of these things. It's about what we as individuals can do. And I think if we can actually make people feel like they can do something at the end of this conversation that's on a very personal groundwork level, then I think we would have accomplished quite a lot.
Who are some of the players involved in actually putting this discussion together?
Well, we have a panelist, and we have Jonathan Bagan. He'll be speaking on legislation. We have Dr. Nixon from IGDS. She'll be speaking on healing and moving forward. We have Amanda McIntyre, former Mantra, and she'll be speaking about groundwork, what can you do as someone who's not an activist, not a lawyer, what can you do to help? And we also have Jade Trim from IGDS, a UE student, and she'll be speaking about our historical background and how this has led to such a society rooted in misogyny.
Now, on screen right now, we have some posts from the Womantra Facebook page. LifeinLeggings, that hashtag may have raised awareness, but in terms of other groups who are based in Trinidad and Tobago doing the work, who are some of these groups?
Well, one of the groups that we have partnered with is I Am One, TNT. Terry actually is a member of the board, and they do a lot of theatrical work, and they do a lot of work for Pride. I suppose Terry could speak more to exactly what they do. Well,
we're a community-based organization, and we deal with gender rights and gender minorities. And this year we actually launched our first Pride Arts, and we ended it with a play, Bust the Mark, and we also have a Facebook page. You can contact us, and we'll be moving forward after this. This is not the end of it. And
using drama, using theatre to bring issues to the fore, what kind of responses do you get?
Well, we had a great response after our Bust the Mark play, because sometimes it's okay to sit and talk about legislation, to use all these big words, misogyny and all these things, but sometimes you need to do some groundwork and actually get to people, find ways to get to them, to make them understand. It was the play was so amazing. It was dealing with regular society and how hatred affects everyone and bigotry in a funny way. People responded, they loved it, and it's a way of attracting people, because you don't have to go to this boring, it was fun, which is what we try to do.
I think sometimes people say, okay, I have all this information, and yes, I want to get some, but you don't need to beat me over the head with it.
Yeah, and you leave there understanding what you went to learn. You're not confused, what does this mean? What did I do?
And actually there's an organization today, IACT, I Am Christian Theatre, and they are going to be having, they're going to be doing a piece on the promenade from 3:30 today, I believe. Is the time? It's 3:30.
3:30.
Yeah.
It's called She's My Sister.
She's my sister.
Charlotte and
I don't remember exactly.
Charlotte,
but
the end of Charlotte Street, and
okay, so once you're around that area, and I'm sure you'll see people standing up and looking.
Yeah. And they've actually asked if people could wear white, black, or red. So if people are in those colors, then I think it should be easy to find them as well.
And moving from the discussion, she looked for that. What do you think is next on the horizon in terms of this movement?
I think that's actually an excellent question, because there are many directions this movement could go in. Because obviously, gender-based violence, which is what this entire movement is about, and harassment and all of these things, are sort of commonplace in society today. And how do we move from here when you could literally go anywhere? And I think the next step from She Look For That is to continue in that same line of trying to navigate people away from that mentality, and to find what are the most effective methods of delivering the information to people, so that they actually feel like she looked for that is not the reality. That's actually, you know, a myth. It's actually a myth. And I think so the next step from here is really and truly to figure out what is the most important groundwork to continue doing so that this can truly start to change.
Well, ladies, we want to thank you so much for your time this morning. It is on Saturday 4 to 6 at the Big Black Box. If you're in white, red, or black, you can, well, even if you're not in white, red, or black, Charlotte Street, Brandon Promenade is the place to be. My name is DK Rostar. Thank you so much for being part of the show this morning.